question, what is in your Dad Cypher playlist? What the hip hop tracks would you listen to and that thing as a mom and dad team? What do you guys listen to?
Okay, well, as you think of songs, I'm going to tell you that's one of the little funny things kind of between the two of us as a couple that I kind of pride myself on old school hip hop. I know that. So he'll say something and I turn it into, a song, old school hip hop. Like this morning, he was talking to me and he was trying to be serious. We're both like really jokey. And remember, we were upstairs in the bed and we're talking and he said, uh-huh. And I said, uh-huh. And I went with T-Pain, So that's just an example of just us. Like in general, if he says he's not going to be able to do something, then I'm breaking out in song. I'm not going to be able to do it.
What?
So I just all day. That's me all day.
What about you, Jason, man? What you listening to with on your tracks?
I have a wide range. I listen to some of everything. I like, even because I'm from Tennessee, so I like a lot of 8-Ball and JG.
What? Okay. Yeah. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I did not see 8-Ball and MJG. Wow.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna have to have you on again and just start. We're just gonna have to talk about that.
My advice would be, again, going into a serious topic of the morbidity and mortality of women of color in this country, that we have one of the highest. Black women are 3 to 4 times higher risk of dying in childbirth, and it is because of racism, right? Race is not a genetic disposition for death, but racism is. So racism is killing our women of color. And so we want our fathers to be their advocate too at the bedside. So that's something else. It's kind of like it's not the appropriate time to even display. Why give anything else? If that is the issue, we have finally even been able to have the CDC and other, respectable organizations identify that racism is an issue. If you're both going in as a couple of color, regardless of what it looks like, right? If you just even became a couple today, why put yourself in it, then an additional, adding on additional layers to, you may be discriminated against, right? There are people say, oh, I'm not racist. Okay, but you say things that are racially insensitive, or you have biases. We all have those. So it's finding that common ground with others that still don't want to believe it. You have biases, right? And so they do. And so when you show up as a young man with your pants pulled down, you smell like weed, you're adding to this. You're not helping her, right? You're putting her life, as he just said, you're putting her life on the line. You're giving someone who's already imperfect, right? We all are imperfect and we all have biases. So if I'm going to be the nurse of the day and I have biases about Black people, and you walk in the door and just hand me 10 more things because now you're smelling of, right? You're giving me something to feed off of. I'm the nurse of the day. I shouldn't have to have a contact high, and he's not even respectful, and his pants are hanging down, and he's this and he's that. And it can become a distraction. It does become a distraction. It is a distraction. So when they're supposed to be paying attention to potentially something that could be going wrong with the mother of your child who might be bleeding or might have increased blood pressure, they can't, because they're too busy focused on what's on your Facebook page, because they've looked that up too. They're looking at, again, how you have presented yourself and how you've shown up to a birthing experience in a professional setting, so to speak, right? The hospital is a professional setting
Right.
unprofessional. So I would want you as a mentor and as a dad to even just talk to them about things of that nature, how to respectfully talk to people. Right? I mean, you don't
Right.
have to like her, but the nurse that's kind of caring for your baby and
Right.
your mother of your child, you probably don't want to curse her out. You probably want to be a little bit respectful, even when you're scared, even when you're concerned about what's going on. We got to have a conversation, with our people that you're there to protect them. But what does that look like? And how can you do that and protect your unborn baby and that mother of your child in such a way where you're not seen as somebody that they're fearful of, and now security's getting involved and the police because I'm so scared, right? We want to create a safe place for you to ask your questions, get the answers that you need, but also make sure that the care is the care that you deserve, right? Respectful care
Right.
that you absolutely deserve. So that's going to be
You know
my.
what? That's very good. I mean, you know what? That's something that I never really thought about. But one thing that I always teach my particular students is about the brand that you present, on social media and the brand that you present into the workplace. We all understand that we don't want to engage in quote unquote respectability politics and that sort of thing. But however, we are living in a place where being Black is not the mainstream. So you have to
Right.
look at how you carry your brand. And I like the way you said,
Mhm.
like in a professional setting, and this is a birthing process. So you have to think of this as you're going in an interview, and how much more so you're being introduced to your child the first time. So you have to watch how you are presenting yourself. But one thing that I want to get into, I wanted like a couple of tips. What can a young father do to advocate for his co-parent?
Give them a voice. Sometimes if a mom is in pain and she's, again, she's 6 centimeters and she's mentioned to you something that was important, or she's saying, I need help, or I can't do this anymore, or my headache is so bad, I am unable to do the things that the nurses are asking. One of the biggest things that they're saying with Black women is they're not listened to. So people are
Mm,
devaluing and not listening. So so even just simply being her voice, she's saying she has a headache that's so bad that she's not able to comprehend what it is you're saying. Is that normal? Should we have a doctor in the room at this point? Do people normally have headaches where they can't see and their vision is blurry during labor? Right. So just even asking the questions in a very affirmative way of, can we see the doctor? And you have a right to see a doctor. We have a question. We'd like to see the doctor, please. Or, things like that. So just making sure her concerns are heard, that there is a shared decision making model. Some of the things that also happen to people of color, you'll see a difference of, where is it okay for us to check you, doing a cervical examination, or is it okay that we induce you today, right? There's one way that you might treat patients, right, where they're given that shared decision making. You value them and their decision and their thought process and their own birthing experience. Then you have others who have a biased way of doing care where it's, you're on Medicaid and this is what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to do this today. You're getting a C-section. I'm going to do this. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute, So it's making sure that they're asking permission, that they're being respectful of her body and her autonomy, and that they're asking permission to do things. And if you don't have all the answers to the questions to make an informed decision, speaking up about that, like, oh, we're going to do a C-section. Sometimes it's at hospitals, hey, sometimes at dinner time, decisions are made to just do C-sections. They may not necessarily be an emergency.
mm,
You have the right to advocate, to say, is this an emergency, doctor? Right? You can ask that in a respectful way. So that's what I mean by in a respectful way. But you have the right, the two of you. If it's an emergency, then we'll get the baby out in 7 minutes. Now, if we've made a decision, we're going to do a C-section, but we're having it in an hour, well, then that's not an emergency. So do I have to have this? What are my options? Can I try something else first? We only did Pitocin. Can we try another form of induction? Am I allowed to walk the halls? I was told, earlier on at this hospital birthing center, I was going to be allowed to walk and move about. I was going to be able to get up and get in the shower. Sometimes the things that are advertised, the marketing of hospitals isn't the same of sometimes what's happening in real world, depending on who your nurse is or who your physician is that day. It's not matching up, right, with the
wow.
advertisement of women's center, birthing center, come here to have your holistic birth. But that's not really what the policy says.
So ask questions.
Ask questions, be an
That's the biggest thing.
advocate.
Right. Ask questions. If you don't understand something, ask the question. Like, the biggest thing is not being able to get along with the mother, you know, or not knowing what to actually do, you know, because and with them not knowing what to do, or you know, they have so many different things against them already, not feeling adequate and so forth. So the biggest thing is letting them know that, yeah, you are worth it. You know, you are needed. Feeling needed is very important, especially in a child's life. Even if you don't know exactly what to do, it's okay to ask. Like I was always told, you know, the only dumb question is the one not asked. You know?
So it's really like swallowing that male pride and just really reaching out. So,
absolutely.
And I think we do as men sometimes feel like I got this, even though we don't.
This is a life that you're dealing with. So your pride could be the cause of your child's life.
So you guys are a team, and you guys call or a doula team, right? So explain, because educate me and the rest of my audience. What exactly is a doula? And because I didn't understand that. I know what a doula is in the truck, but I was like, what is a doula? What is a doula here?
So a doula is a support person, and they can also be your voice and advocate. I mean, and they can be there for the dad and or for the mom. So how his role and what it would look like, because I think immediately when people think of doula, they think of somebody that's going to rub the back or massage the shoulders, and that could be what my role would be. But also they could have a doula for a dad, right, where he's the advocate, giving them advice and helping them along the way on the journey. And so we provide resources. The thing we talked about earlier as far as postpartum.net, even healthformom.org. I so happen to be a doula, but also, Health Mom and Baby magazine. So for people out there that are looking for doulas, even if it isn't us and they're living in a different state, a doula can provide you with resources. They're going to be an advocate. They're going to be there during that birthing process to help with, you never know what you're going to get. Yes, labor nurses are quote unquote supposed to know all of these things, but you have nurses that have favorites, that have favorite things or things that they're good at, right? That they're better at than others. Every nurse is not the best at, different laboring positions to really get that baby out. If you're having back labor, right? The baby's turned the wrong way or things of that nature. You're going to have some nurses that are great. They can get in there and they know how to use a peanut ball or a birthing ball, and they know what positions to put you in. You may get a nurse that's on orientation. Maybe she doesn't know that information. So counting on someone else to give you the birth experience that you're looking for, having that doula allows you to ensure that you're going to get that experience that you're looking for.
So let me ask you this. So Jason, you're actually sometimes in the room when the baby is being born?
I can be, yes.
So
I can be.
So I have to ask you this. What is the funniest moment that you had with a dad as a doula? What did you have to say? Hey, bro, don't run out the room. What did you?
Well, that's funny. You there to catch him, right?
It's
Pull him back in.
That's actually what that right there, what you just asked. Actually, that's a part that I go over in my class also, about just the different myths that you hear that happens to dads in the the labor and delivery room. Some of them, you might hear some of them may faint or so forth,
right.
But that never happens.
Marcus passed out.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you, the nurses tried to scare me with my firstborn. They was like, okay, you have to sign an agreement. If you faint, we could step over you. And I was like, so they came in like they tried to scare me. I said, you know what? All I need is a mask. And I put that mask on, and suddenly I felt like, well, I am a Dr. JL, but I felt like an MD at that time.
Okay.
And then I put that on. I was like, okay, I can do it. I slapped my gloves. I was like, okay, let's go in. you know, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. But you know, so yeah, the biggest myth has always been like they told me that if I faint, that they can walk over you, and I never fainted. It was like it wasn't a big deal.
I don't know what hospital that is, and I'm sorry that you were told that, because we're still nursing is supposed to be one of the most compassionate career choices. Right, and we're not going to just step over you now. I mean,
yeah, she told me, she's like, look, bro, I'm gonna step right over you. I was like, wow.
But he teaches self-care in his class, and things like that don't happen. I have had dads to get to take their seizure medicine and have a seizure at delivery. I have had dads that were type 1 diabetics that were so nervous and didn't eat for almost a whole day that, yes, they're
those are rare
sugar.
cases.
So things like that, and there's those things. But he talks about packing snacks, bringing that extra change of clothes so you're comfortable if you work and you're a mechanic and you're going to show up at the hospital greasy with oil on you from head to toe. Have that bag packed. And comfort care, part of that, he talks about having snacks and energy drinks and things of that nature. That also helps, with some of that.
So again, stuff that I needed like 21 years ago. Man,
we're sorry. But now you have all these tools, so when you become a granddad, you are equipped. I'm
done. I'm not being a boy.
You ready to go.
I'm just passing. I'll just show this episode to my kids. I'm like, go for it. I'm done, man. With that being said, thank you again for being a special guest on the Dad Cypher. I wanted to just, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, where can they find you again are you guys on Facebook, Graham, like where can we find you?
Yes, they can find us on Facebook. They can go to our page. They can like the Perinatal Potpourri page. We also have a website. Again, it is Perinatal Potpourri. It is PERINATAL, and potpourri is spelled POTPOURRI.com, Perinatal Potpourri. They can reach out to Jason to get hooked up with doula services or his Understanding Fatherhood class at 678-849-4228. And my number is also on the website. It's on Facebook. They can find it there as well. And it's 678-592-9330.
Right. And she spelled out potpourri for those who went to public school. So with that being said, hey, thank you all for being a great guest. I appreciate it. And this is Dad Cypher, Excellence Professor, and I'm out.